Hello people of the internet, and welcome to week 12 of Industrial Rallycross, where today I'll be driving some Japanese sports cars. I'll also be doing other nations of cars that happen to be sporty, but not today. And you'll see already I've messed it up. This is the 200px Type Z, might I mention, and I've managed to shut the engine off. First lap is bad, but then the first lap normally isn't great. I've now got the handbrake on now. I just feared for a moment I made such a stupid mistake, and the 200BX does like to slide. I mean, I don't hate it as a vehicle, but I do hate how every corner it wants to slide. I will get the hang of this eventually, don't worry. Somehow I've managed to turn around there. No, the engine hasn't shut off. It appears to permanently have oil problems. I'm not sure what that's all about. It is still moving. It feels like you've thrown too much power through the wheels. A lot of 200BXs have the same problem. Only if you load it with about 80 horsepower does it feel about right. And again, oh dear. It's just trying to find grip is such a problem. It reminds me of that Barstow, was it? The Barstow convertible. It's got a better suspension system for track work than that car had, which counts for something, but it's not exactly an easy vehicle to drive. You'll see there I've thrown it about again, and I'm kind of getting the hang of it. I'm not using near as much power as I should be using though from this vehicle. It's fine with the dirt, oddly. I say fine, it's not really any worse than the rest of the track. I just have to be so careful as to what power I use, if any, and I think I've messed it up now. I'm going to floor it and hope it doesn't crash. No, I had to lift off. It's too much, it's too much for this vehicle. Sorry if the time is terrible, I did try. I've beaten the Barstow, but it's just not a nice vehicle. Too much power and not enough chassis, not enough suspension to deal with it, not enough tyre even. That's probably the more important thing. The suspension system isn't actually that bad on these. It's on the firmer side, but for track work it's fine. We're getting round. Oh dear. Yeah, I couldn't save that, it had gone. Ooh, just think I lost all traction altogether. Surprisingly, the vehicle has held together, and I forgot how to use a mouse right there. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and save this. I mean, I did just crash onto the verge, so it's never going to be a good one. Try and get it to the end. There we go. 42.557. Slow. Okay, so we have the unfortunate result here. It's a sports car with a good 277 horsepower, and I couldn't use any of it. Meaning the time is atrocious, really, for a sports car. It's just above the two school buses, the Type C and the Type D. And I believe they've been rebranded Dansworth now, but that's not important. What is important is this is supposed to be a high-performance sports car, and we've been beaten by a monster truck round a tight, twisty kind of course. It just seems wrong. And even worse, to add insult to injury, we've been beaten by a base model Covet by about 10 seconds. You see, we've got all this power, but there's no way to use all that power. It's just kind of sitting there waiting to give you an attack of power. I'm struggling to put words together for some reason. Yeah, I don't like these vehicles to drive, although they are nice little sports cars in their own way. I say little, not that small. But we can forgive it. It has got pop-up headlights, after all, and pop-up headlights make any vehicle better. But I'm just disappointed that it's let Japan down on the leaderboard. They were honestly doing pretty good until this came along and pushed them 7 seconds down the leaderboard. But anyway, we have got to move on to the next vehicle, so let's do that now. So, next up we have a second generation Covet, and it looks very Pessima-like in here. It's because hard as it is to describe, it's kind of a child between a Covet and a Pessima. This particular variant is the 1.6 ZXi Anniversary Edition, and I'm hoping after the wildly skiddy, for lack of a better word, 200BX, this will provide much needed grip, and there is some understeer in it. And how it drives, I don't know. It feels like there's turbo lag, although I'm pretty sure there's no turbo on it. I think it's just a lack of low end torque. It's quite smooth, so it feels quite smooth, which is, I guess, the positive attribute of being bits of pessima on this. I can put words together, honestly. First lap was nothing special, but it was quite smooth, so try and take the inside line through here, power through there, and brake early here. Try and again take the inside lines, because that's the quicker way to take corners. I can actually think about this stuff though. It's very nice to drive. It reminds me of a Pessima, only maybe a little more understeer than that. It's hard to say. We're going very wide here, wider than we should have, but we can recover it, perhaps. No, we can't recover it. I thought I could recover it, but maybe not. Ooh, that's a very solid time. I didn't quite see the exact time, but it looked in a very solid sports car place of a leaderboard, which is very good to see from this little Covet. And we feel good on this lap. I think I just have to remember on the dirt, it's not the ideal part for this car, so I turn in early and floor it out. Yes, it is pushed me against the wall a bit there, but we are smooth and on the inside there, so we floor it. 31.124, not bad by any means. And to kind of compensate for the poor performance of a 200BX, we have a vehicle that finally proves what it is capable of a good Japanese car. Again, I'm trying to put words together but failing pretty badly at it. This looks like a inline 4 of sorts, possibly turbocharged. Well, that's not important. What is important is the time, which is a 0.31.124. Yep, 0.001 seconds quicker than an S-Series Security Level 9. Yeah, admittedly that's a huge whale of a car, but we beat it, which is some credit, and it is in a very good section of the leaderboard. It's just below a Covet Monster, Covet VT6 all-wheel drive, and a I-Series TD Sport Evolution. Very good competition then as well. It also snatches third fastest front-wheel drive time from the Liguan track. So all in all, a vehicle I'm very impressed with. Although I have to say I prefer the look of the older Covet. In terms of performance, this is definitely a viable option. Okay, so next up we have the Hiwuchi even, Prazu Targa Sport. The twin-turbo variant, might I mention, of what is basically a Toyota Supra Mark IV. There is a lot of turbo lag, that is something to be aware of, and that should have gone horribly, but there's so much turbo lag in this car that it really couldn't have gone horribly. Yeah, I'm flooring it, but I'm off the turbo, so nothing much is happening around these low-speed parts of the course. I feel like it's really hindering the vehicle, and I've completely messed this one up now, as if the first one wasn't always a mess. I mean, the first laps never go the quickest unless the last two are the terriblest laps ever. Yes, that's a word now. Try and break into here, but keep the turbos going just about. Oh dearie me. We messed up that corner pretty badly. Problem is, it can't really put the power down when the turbo's going, but I can't just use the lag because there's too much lag to really do that. Mind, we are going, even if it's not the most stable in the world, and no power on that dirt. Maybe that's a good thing, because it means we grip, but it didn't feel like a good thing. Flooring it out of here, and that was slow. But we are nice and tidy here. I'm thinking I'll just floor it through there, yes. That was reasonably nice, but I got caught in the turbo lag at the end of that corner. Hopefully now... Oh dear. Flooring it through here. Lift off a bit there. Oh, this is the awkward corner. It's quite tight and it's on dirt, so if the turbo kicks in at the wrong moment, it's destroyed me. Oh dear. Flooring it now and hoping. 36.005, it's the best I can do. So, after, or should I say above the 200BX, we actually have a half-decent time from it. For a sports car though, I can't really call this a half decent time. Just over 36 seconds puts it right between the old full-size V8 base model and the H35 off-road ambulance. So, respectable enough vehicles in their own right, but for something sporty, and a sporty variant of that, for the matter being, I would have expected a lot more. Also, other than the logos, this is a Toyota Supra. You can probably tell that. Show you the engine quickly. Put the brake on. Hopefully I can zoom in. Yeah, I'm disappointed though. It's still beaten by a Corvette DX. Corvettes are really holding together quite well today. Moving on. And next up we have a vehicle I've actually really quite wanted to drive. This is the 1980s Pessima 2.0 ZX all-wheel steer. Yep, we get the all-wheel steer variant finally. It actually has less power than the Corvette we had today as well, but hopefully the all-wheel steer system will give this an amazing time, and I've completely messed up there. But these are remarkably well-balanced vehicles round corners, far better than you might believe. I'm having no problems. Yeah, it's hard to speak about a car that's almost perfect to drive. I guess it could do with a turbo or a more powerful engine, but even so, having a less powerful engine just makes this thing easier to control, I would argue. Now, it is an old Pessima as well though, which means it is light, agile and generally good fun to drive. But then we've got the all-wheel steer on top of that, so things can only get better. Had a bit of a clip on the inside wall back there. I believe this is naturally aspirated, so we don't have any turbo problems at all with it, as you may have expected from other vehicles. The Prazu we had last time, for example, I say last time, last vehicle, almost racked the wall there. It was my mistake, and I probably should have just slowed down and tried to get a better one onto the third lap, but hey, I was a bit stupid. What am I going to do now about it? Try and turn in. And there we go. Very, very neat round there. Try and turn in again. It's just hard to extract the outright speed from this, especially on areas like that dirt. I mean, I guess it's no worse than other cars. It does at least have some grip there, but it was really struggling a bit. Again, 33.7. Not bad. So, we're having some close encounters today. This has finished just above the H25 extended passenger vanster. That achieved a 33.776 time, which is 0.06 seconds slower. Yeah, you don't really think of this as competing with passenger vans. Mind, those passenger vans were not horrible vehicles to drive, so, you know, at least it's losing to the best. Hopefully, you see that I mean. And the Hopper Sport Special, it came a few points of a second below that. So, you know, it's between a couple of American stuff. It's below the Mark II Pessima V6. I can only say this is coming so low because of its lack of power, which just brings me on to my only real criticism of this. It could do with a bit more power, maybe slightly grippier tyres to go with that. This is near perfect in terms of handling though, and, you know, it just needs the odd small feature here or there to be perfect. So, with not much to say, just tear the bonnet off. Ooh, it's got a red head. And we can move on to the next vehicle. Okay, so next up we have an interesting vehicle. This is the Sunburst 2-litre Sport RS Roadster all-wheel drive, so basically a Subaru convertible. I decided that would be an interesting idea. Now this doesn't have tons of grip. You'll see I got a bit slidey there. It really needs better tyres, I have to say, but it should still have enough grip to set a decent time around here. Oof. Hopefully I've not completely whacked the rear wheel. No, I think I just clipped it. Yeah, the first lap is a bit ruined now, but hopefully we should be able to move on. And this really isn't gripping as I wanted it to. It didn't feel that bad before when I drove it, but now it's really coming out. It does have electronic stability and traction control, which I'm not using because of the series rules and everything, but maybe if I could use those it would grip better. But I would just go better tyres personally. First lap was very, very poor because naturally I lost control of it. Maybe the tyres are heating up to me now though, or maybe I'm just getting used to driving it, but I'm not seeming to slide it as much, which is always something. It seems like I'm taking similar lines to the Pessima we've just had, and that was not a similar line to the Pessima because that wouldn't oversteer. It just wouldn't, it's front wheel drive, and oh dear. Oh, that was a very awkward line through there. Oh dear. I think I've messed this lap up. Yep, I think I have. Oof. Yeah. Thankfully I managed to just about save it before the third lap came to beginnings. And that's not what we want to happen on the third lap. Oh dear, no, no, no. Yeah, what can I say? It wanted to become a rally car. Second lap wasn't actually that bad, mind. I should have just floored it across the line. If only I'd knew. Somehow it's still holding together. I mean, something somewhere is definitely twisted, but the vehicle's holding together. It has that ETK problem though. I like this more than the ETK, I have to say, just because it's kind of a agile little sports car, but still it's not quite right. It's too reliant on them. Okay, so we have another car that's kind of let me down. The smallest letdown, I will admit, of the bunch of them, but still a letdown because given the specifications of this thing and the fact it's got all-wheel drive, it should have been far quicker. I understand it's a tight circuit, but honestly, we've got all-wheel drive. There is no excuse not to grip when you've got these kinds of specifications. It's not like a 1,000 horsepower car either, it's only 300, which is nothing too mad. Just open the door. And overall, we have come between the Hopper Custom and the old full-size base. But that's not the full story. What is the full story is just above the Hopper Custom is a Covet DX. So, yeah. We finally come up to our point of the day, which is Weissers may have had a point in using Honda Civics, and maybe their exhaust did actually add 1,000 horsepower, because to beat, well, a Subaru, essentially, is madness. There we go. Now it's not a RS anymore, just a standard Sunburst. Yeah, at least the time seems more respectable. But still, I'm going to say now, thanks for watching, and goodbye, until another day.